Okay, so now we're going to make a really simple ramen, and it does use the packet. I found this online, and it's a comfort food ramen recipe. What we're going to do is we're going to use the seasoning packet this time. We're going to use the whole cup of ramen, but we're going to basically doctor it and add more to it. So we're going to be adding an egg that we're going to poach inside. The recipe also calls for green onions, so I don't have any of those, so I'm going to be using a little bit of finely diced onion that I'll add into the broth to add some extra flavor. And then it also calls for sesame seeds, butter, and a little bit of cheese. I don't have cheese, so I won't be doing that today, but I do recommend it. It's delicious. Okay, so the water's already boiling, and we're just going to go ahead and drop that ramen packet in. Put the lid back on with it vented so that it doesn't boil over. Bring it back to a boil and let it cook for 2 minutes. Going to add the diced onions to that, so they have time to cook it and soften a little bit. And I'm just going to use a fork, nothing fancy, kind of mix it up a little bit. Start to break up the noodles, and then cook it for another 30 seconds. Okay, so it's been another 30 seconds. We're going to remove the egg, the ramen from the stove. And what we're going to do now is we're actually going to do a technique called poaching an egg. Now, this is not how you do an official egg poaching, but this is kind of a fun, improvised way to do it. What we're going to do is crack an egg. These are one of my chicken eggs. They're green. And we're going to put it in a dish. I always recommend putting your eggs into a dish first, because if there's any blood spots or shell or anything like that, it's a lot easier to fish it out of there than in the broth. And also, this is going to let us more gently pull in. So I kind of have a well there in the middle, and I'm just going to gently pour the egg right in the middle, like so. And using a fork, all we're going to do is gently pull these noodles over top and basically making like a little nest for our egg. And we're going to let it sit for another minute. Another minute, so you can see the egg is kind of nestled in there. If you've ever gone to a noodle shop, they always serve ramen in a giant bowl. So this is actually a serving bowl, and that's what we're going to use for our presentation. We're going to just very gently slide the broth and the egg into there, into the bowl. So now we're going to add our topping, and so we're going to just add about a teaspoon of butter, half a teaspoon of butter, and add that in there. Just let it melt. It's going to add some depth to it. And then sesame seeds, if you have it, just a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to sprinkle them on top, kind of for decoration. If you have your cheese, go ahead and put that on there. It's delicious. It's like cream. It's kind of puts it into the mac and cheese territory, and it's really quite yummy. And then for just a little bit of color, we're going to add a little bit of alfalfa sprouts. But that's it. Eventually, as you eat it, the butter will melt, and you just kind of mix it in. I want to show you the egg really quickly. So it's nicely poached inside. It's still going to be, it's basically like a dippy egg. The yolk is still uncooked, so you'll have some of that. And it's really delicious. So enjoy.